Welcome, everybody. We'll have a bunch more people joining us here over the next couple of minutes, I'm sure. So we're going to just jump in and get started. I'll give you a couple quick introductions. First, I am Brandon Lake, the CEO of Resmark, and we've got a lot of our clients and friends here. I also own and operate two different tour companies, Moab Adventure Center and Western River Expeditions. Both businesses have been around for a long time. They started Moab Adventure Center about 23 years ago, and it's grown very nicely over time. And we're really excited about everything there. Along the way, we built a software platform that is a booking and booking system, marketing automation, marketplace, does all of those kinds of things. We also built a liability waiver platform called WaiverSign. And most recently, we have a digital marketing agency that does websites and SEO and paid ads as well. So we are very excited to have Kelsey Tonner with us today. I've known Kelsey for actually a long time. Met him at a conference a long, long time ago, and he has done a lot in his career as well, and comes to us with a lot of very hands-on background himself, being an award-winning tour leader. And he's going to bring all of that to us today. He is now working, well, he's the founder of Guest Focus. That's tour business coaching. And he's doing this for over 20 years. He helps business owners as a mentor, a consultant, a speaker. Some of you may have heard him speak at different places. He has now helped over 2,000 tour operators from 75 countries around the world. He's spoken at over 35 industry events and conferences. So you may have seen him at Arrival. I've seen him at, several other tourism conferences. Really does a phenomenal job, and he's got a lot of great online resources. If you haven't tuned into the Guest Focus YouTube channel, there's a ton of great stuff there, and he's going to be sharing some of that with us today. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Kelsey. And as we go and he begins to present this, if you have any questions along the way, please just throw those into the chat. We may take some time at the appropriate moments to kind of answer those along the way, or we'll be answering them at the end for sure. But anything that you want to know as he's presenting along the way as it relates to your business, please put it in the chat and we'll get to it. So, Kelsey, welcome.
Beautiful. Thanks for the lovely intro. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night to all the folks who are here, no matter what part of the world you are tuning in from. So just a couple more of those logistical items off the top. If you do have your camera off and you are okay with turning it on, absolutely love that. I have this extra monitor here, and so I love keeping an eye on kind of what's going on over there. If I see a lot of people kind of like dozing off, or what I sometimes call that Tucker Carlson face, where this is like deep sort of confusion or something like that. It's usually a good indication to me that I should, hey, take a beat, maybe say that in a slightly different way. So super appreciate that, and just know that I'll keep an eye over here as well as on the chat. And so Brandon's going to be keeping an eye on the chat. If there are questions as we go through, like I said, we'll have a pretty free-flowing session here today, and we'll then have some dedicated time towards the end for the Q&A. Also, if you are able to silence your phone, turn down the Instagram, some of the other things, I promise this is going to be worth your while. But I've not been accused of being a slow talker. So we're going to move quickly. That's our goal here today. So let's see if I can pull up just this intro slide. I think this one should work. This worked for us just a second ago. Portion, let's try that. Okay, so this is our topic today, right? How to consistently sell more tours. You guys seen that? Give me a quick hands up if you're seeing that on your screen. Hell yeah, thanks, Keisha. Beautiful. Without the scattergun approach to getting new customers, even if you feel that every dollar you spend on marketing goes into one gigantic black hole. How many people have had that black hole feeling? Sometimes you're looking at your marketing budget, we're a little bit uncertain. Yeah, that's you, Matthew, can relate. Look, I want to take a moment just to talk a little bit about why I think this is a crucial topic kind of at this moment in time, and maybe just kind of call it an elephant in the room. When we're talking about, hey, how to consistently sell more tours, you might be expecting, okay, hey, Kelsey's going to come on and he's going to maybe share some like the marketing hacks, right? Are we going to learn about the latest thing that's working with Facebook groups or TikTok challenges or this type of thing? And that is 100% not what we're going to be doing, right? The temptation that we found in working with as many tour business owners as we have over the last decade is there's this real allure, right, of the quick fix marketing hacks, that shiny object, the latest digital tool. And there's a lot of content on that, whether it's workshops, blog posts, podcast episodes, even sessions like this. But today we're going to be looking more at core strategies, let's say, that have stood the test of time, right? Strategies that are going to work even in periods of a lot of change. And that's why this is so important right now, right? Think about, obviously, the pandemic changed everything, but think about how much in each year after the pandemic, what customers need, what they want, what they're looking for, has been evolving and changing. And as the market conditions evolve, who knows what's going to be coming in the next year or so? We just know that we're in this a real period of dynamic change. And so what I want to focus on here today is what are the strategies that are going to help us navigate those different ups and downs as TikTok challenges come in and out, as tactic X and Y, phase in and out. What we want to give you tools to help you not only navigate those changes, but thrive in them. So we all want consistent sales in our tour business, right? Here, through our work with operators, we found there are 4 common and expensive mistakes that tour companies are making when it comes to selling tours and activities. We're going to go through each one of these mistakes one by one, and of course, share what to do instead, right? I'm going to tell a lot of stories here today, tell some these are people either in our program or just best practices from super successful operators to hopefully give you some inspiration on what's possible when we can avoid these mistakes. I want to let you know that you are in the right place, even if you're feeling some of this, right? Put up your hands if you feel like you've got a great tour, but sometimes it feels like nobody knows you're out there and you don't know the best way to get it in front of more people. We hear this a lot. Maybe, yeah, awesome. A couple of hands there. Maybe if you, especially if you're in a multi-day space, but maybe turning inquiries into confirmed bookings feels like an uphill battle. Like if you get a lot of expressions of interest, but conversion is tough, you're in the right place. Maybe you find yourself jumping around, getting distracted by a lot of different marketing tactics, right? You have trouble keeping out that noise and chasing those shiny objects, right? You're definitely in the right place. Maybe you've invested in marketing agencies, but it turned out to be disappointing, frustrating, maybe wasteful of our limited resources. How many people have been there before, right? Who's really good at marketing? Marketing agencies, right? They promise the world will get you in the door, and then we can be left frustrated, right? And lastly, maybe you're tired of no solid plan, no this sort of sporadic feeling marketing efforts, information overload. This is the biggest thing we hear from operators. It's just so much information out there, right? From blog posts, podcasts, courses, Facebookers. It feels like there's a million things to do, and all of them are really urgent. Well, I just want to let you know that you are not alone, right? We every day in our program are working with operators who are feeling this exact same thing. So if you are feeling that, just know that that's part of the challenge, part of what we have to navigate as tour business entrepreneurs. And talking with Brandon and Nikki, we did want to offer something special in addition to our workshop here today. So I'll just give this a shout out off the top. Maybe Abby, we can pop it in the chat, but I've cleared some time in my personal calendar over the next 2 weeks. If you did want to have a short call with one of our tour business coaches, we do offer these free 45-minute strategy calls where we can kind of just get a second set of eyes on what you're up to in your business. And we talk through some of your goals. And if every one of these calls, we make sure that you walk away with a couple quick wins. So look, we put together a special, like I said, opportunity at guestfocus.com/Resmark. I'll just call this out because, frankly, we have kind of limited availability in the next couple of weeks. So if that's of interest to you, I would just maybe go and book that now. We kind of do first come, first served. And I know that we had a lot of registrants here today. So I just want to give that a quick shout out. Yeah, my background, you got a quick insight there, obviously from Brandon, but I was a tour leader. I grew up in Nova Scotia, Canada. I don't know if we've got any other Canadians here, but you'll notice I say some words in a lovely, quaint way. Oh, Mathieu, awesome. Are you from Quebec, Mathieu? Is it a proper Mathieu?
Sorry about that. I was born in Quebec, but I live in Hawaii now, and it is Mathieu. You got it correct. Yes, but I just tell people to call me Matty.
Matty, yeah. Doesn't fly out on the Big Island, out in the Pacific. Very cool. Well, look,
Yeah.
Matt, as soon as basically I grew up in Nova Scotia, the East Coast, kind of took any job that allowed me to travel the world, right? Meet new people, see new places. Very quickly got in with a number of companies. I was a dog sledding guide. I led high ropes and adventure, what was it? Adventure tours through Wisconsin, like the Great Lakes area, but down to Australia, and then picked up with Backroads Tours. And with Backroads Tours, essentially they're the #1 active travel company in the world. These were hiking trips, walking trips all over the world. This is me down in Vietnam. It's probably hard to see a little bit here, but that's me in the in the plow here. There's a nice little Vietnamese woman, it's got me doing a little demonstration here. I was the ox here. And basically what was amazing about spending 6 years working with this company is doing this full time. I was exposed to an enormous volume of successful tour companies. Backroads is really quality focused. And so on any given multi-day tour, we're working with 9 or 10 different tour businesses, right? For who's doing the tastings, who's doing our cultural tours, our walking tour, or maybe there's a wine tasting experience. And so we really got to see what made some of these experiences so special and what made those operators as successful as they were. That's what led us to create, after stepping back from Backroads, the Be a Better Guide project. And some of you may have seen those videos years back, but basically this was us trying to create a community around, hey, anyone who wants to raise the bar on what it means to create memorable experiences for people. We created a community around that. That was our initial business model. We did programs from Lead Amazing Tours, extraordinary storytelling for tour leaders, 7-figure tour business, and on. Like Brandon said, I've been able to, in this industry, as I, was, I guess, able to articulate and codify some of these best practices, being able to speak at 35 international events and did training with all kinds of booking software companies around the world. And so basically 3 or 4 years ago, we just did a rebrand essentially to Guest Focus, where our overall kind of vision was still the same, which is, hey, we want to help fill the world with engaging, inspiring experiences for travelers, right? Full stop, because we're travelers ourselves, right? But then our mission got a lot more specific. Hey, we want to create the world's best coaching program for tour business owners, because that is a fantastic way to help fill the world with those amazing experiences when we go traveling. We're tired of the mediocre kind of mass tourism. Life is too short for boring. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to empower, coach, inspire people like you to create extraordinary guest experiences and thriving, profitable tour businesses, right? So everything that we cover here today, myself, and we now have a team of 12 experienced tour business coaches who are essentially our guest focused coaches. And we've directly mentored hundreds of tour business owners. So the strategies, the insights, what we're talking about here today, these are real world best practices. They're tested, they're refined, and it's specific exactly to what we do. Cool. That's all we got for intro. So why don't more tour businesses get the results they're after? We find there are 4 sales killers. Here is #1. No ideal target guest. Too many tour business owners believe that their tours are ideally suited to all visitors to the destination, right? Heard that before? And this mistake is enormously costly across your entire business. And it's honestly probably the single biggest thing that is holding back so many from building a thriving, profitable tour business, right? If I could just get my tour in front of more people, is what most of us spend our mental energy on. I'm here to encourage you to shift your thinking on this. Now, the go-to consequence we might think about is just on the marketing end, right? We all probably are familiar with that idea of customer avatar or that buyer persona, right? And if we don't have a clear idea of who we're targeting with our marketing spend, our marketing energy, our marketing efforts, then the marketing can be ineffective, right? It can be expensive, all of which is 100% true. But this is where I would say here at Guest Focus, we want to remind you that it's so much more insidious than this. This mistake is bigger than just ineffective marketing and wasted marketing dollars. By trying to be all things to all people who come on your tour, activity, or experience, you end up serving no one well, right? It's been our ethos, as I said here in the intro, to constantly strive to create unforgettable experiences for travelers. But the real secret to doing this, and doing this extremely well, is by niching down into smaller but crystal clear ideal target guests, right? Or put another way, let's flip this on its head. Your tour, your activity, your experience, if you're doing this well, should actually be uninteresting or unappealing to the majority of visitors to your destination, right? It's a nice reverse of this sniff test. And that feels counterintuitive to us, right? Because our instincts are what? To sell as much as possible, right? To as many people as we can. But by doing so, you don't only do yourself a disservice, but you do a disservice to your guests, right? So let's go through a couple quick examples to kind of continue to think this through. We want to, at the end of the day, be able to answer this question really succinctly. I help these specific people, right? Let's think about those bicycle tours that I led for many years. Just to clarify, this is the idea. This is the value proposition. It's like, okay, we're going to fly to the other side of the world. We're going to take a tiny piece of plastic. We're going to shove it up your rear end. You're going to bike 150 miles under the blazing hot Italian sun. And then you're going to get up the next day and do it again 7 days in a row. So to a lot of people, this is not sound like a relaxing holiday. This sounds like something that may have been designed by your enemy, right? Something that is a punishment versus a holiday. But for those folks that love exploring, being outdoors, for those folks that love the natural endorphin kick that you get from pedaling or hiking your way through a destination, this is the perfect tour. But for most folks, not really, right? One of the members of our coaching program is Melanie. She does, I guess you'd call them academically focused multi-day adventures. So they go around the world. But on Melanie's tours, you got homework. You got books that you need to read. There's things that you got to prepare. You got like a short presentation to do. We're going to be having a lot of classroom time during these tours. We're going to have visiting like professors and some world experts. For a lot of folks, where's the beach, right? Where's the, all you get? This is not a tour for everybody. But she's having enormous success for those people that are frustrated by maybe the surface level cultural immersion of so many multi-day tours. My God, we're walking through Florence, Italy, following this tiny flag, and somebody's pointing up at Michelangelo's, penis here on the statue, and we're just not recognizing or not truly appreciating or going into the depth that's possible here. For those type of people, Melanie's tours are that perfect fit. Last example, let's go Lord of the Rings. We go down to New Zealand. There's all kinds of spectacular day tours where you can dress up like wizards and hobbits, run around role-playing with swords. Is this what most people want to do when they go to New Zealand? Heck no. I'm sure there's a lot of people on the call here who thought the movies were too long and overrated and boring. And this is the last thing on earth that you would want to do. But these companies here are multi-million-dollar, hugely successful, hugely profitable companies because they are not trying to serve everyone. They are serving a very particular niche. And for most of us who aren't, the equation differs. You might be thinking in your head, well, what about a place like the Louvre, right? Or, where we have a huge diversity of visitors who are coming through and passing through. It's like, yes, let's keep in mind that most of us are not the Louvre, right? Most of us, as small to medium-sized tour business owners, we don't need hundreds of thousands of customers, right? Most of us can have hugely profitable businesses with sometimes hundreds of customers, sometimes with just thousands of customers. And we sometimes lose this bit of perspective. Okay, I think we've flogged that a little bit. We'll have some time in the Q&A to kind of dive into that. But that is our first step, is let's be crystal clear on choosing that ideal target guest. Secondly, what is this mistake number 2? Little or no customer research. So it's one thing to choose an ideal target guest, but it's another thing entirely to understand, empathize, and wrap your head around what they actually want, what they actually need. Here's a simple little Venn diagram that can kind of help this out. The Venn diagrams, we've got 2 overlapping circles, right? On the left is you and your tour business, right? Your vision, some of the values that motivate you, some of your goals in terms of maybe number of bookings, maybe profit margins, sales, what you want to bring in, put into the world, your ideas for those experiences. And on the right is that ideal target guest, the people that you want to serve. Now, in their box, they have their own priorities, right? Their pain points, needs, wants, desires, dream scenarios. And where these things overlap is where we have product market fit, is where we have the most profitable products to create, the most profitable tour businesses live in this space. And what we often find with tour business owners is sometimes we're too far to the left or sometimes we're too far to the right. So if you're too far to the left and you're in that blue side of the circle, you've got a lot of ideas for tours, but we're not necessarily maybe validating. We're not necessarily in tune with, hey, is this something that the market actually wants? And we're going to go through here. Yeah, I did put in a couple slides on this. So look, customer research lets you serve your guests at the highest possible level, right? That's really what we're after. Why are we doing this? Why are we taking the time to maybe actually get on the phone, get on a Zoom call, actually talk to some of the people that we're trying to serve at that highest possible level? It helps you generate more of these rave reviews, more referrals, more sales. But also, of course, the cost of our marketing is going to plummet. We can get that right message in front of the right people. Well, I sometimes like to think about this as imagine you come to me. Here's my value proposition. I'm going to design the perfect holiday for you and your family. It's going to be a weekend. You're coming to my destination. I'm like, yep, no problem. I'm gonna take care of you. I've got a great sense of what's going on here in this destination. I'll put together a perfect holiday. And we kind of hang up the phone. And I go and I start putting together package, the offer. But I didn't ask you any questions about what was important to you, right? What you're hoping to get out of the holiday. Who are the members of your family? What are your pet peeves? What really pisses you off or drives you crazy when you're traveling, right? That would be a massive red flag, wouldn't it? Be like, whoa, that doesn't feel right. But that's what so many of us as tour business owners are doing, right? Think if you flip this on its head again, it's almost the audacity to design and put together a tour product without taking the time to even have a conversation with some of the people we're looking to serve. Now, many of you, no doubt, are getting some of this information through online reviews. But we can see here that we can be more proactive than this. And the companies, again, what we're sharing here today, when we looked out and we said, what is common across some of those successful tour and activity businesses in the industry? Doing this type of guest deep dive is what we call it, doing this type of customer research before you put together a tour activity or experience, before you put together your offer and sales page, is the key to success. So instead of making this mistake, little to no customer research, right? What are we going to do instead? So what is this guest deep dive? It is a specific method for essentially finding out essential information about your potential customers. It's going to give you clarity about what opportunities exist for products and services, plus the confidence to move forward when you're investing your time and resources, right? Having that ability to see if there are gaps, if there are needs, wants, and desires, if there are people being underserved in some way. This is a tremendously profitable thing to do if you are keenly in tune with not only what type of tours can I design, but when I'm thinking about what other tours, products, and services can I create? How can I create really compelling bundles or packages? What sort of one-click upsells could I add to my checkout flow to make your business more profitable? But at the end of the day, we get there by serving those ideal target guests at the highest possible level, right? Mistake that most tour operators make is that we create a tour activity or an experience, and sometimes this can take months. We can invest a lot of time, putting together the contracts, scripting everything out, already, half a year. And then we put it out into the world and it doesn't sell, right? Or crickets. So this is hugely costly, right? Not only from the time, energy spent on it, but the opportunity cost as well. So a guest deep dive keeps you from speculating, keeps you from guessing what your customers want, and it's going to help you minimize risk when you're building and growing that tour business. As we see on the slide here, it's the perfect tool for times of turbulence and change. Is a guest deep dive something we do once and then we just don't do it again for, 5 years, 10 years? Of course not. A guest deep dive is something that in our coaching program, we help people do on average, at least once a year. It's a way for us to validate and test some of those assumptions. It's also a great way to, like we said, add experience enhancers, upsells, cross-sells, create compelling packages. But it's also a really great way to fine-tune your offers. So many of you probably have tours that are selling pretty well. But when we get that product market fit, when something really just clicks for your customer, we're talking about a whole lot of momentum and inertia that gets built into the business. I think I'll tell a story here in a second of how we can do this. So this is really one of the secret sauces to, hey, how are we going to survive a recession? How are we going to survive another maybe dramatic event that comes through? This is how we can give our tours the best chance to sell in any market. All right, so I don't want to leave you totally empty-handed here. What's the most important question we can ask, right? Sometimes we we do this, but we don't know the right questions to ask. So here is the numero uno of the guest deep dive. Writer downer, what are your biggest challenges or frustrations when it comes to, and then you insert the area of the market that you're trying to serve. When organizing a hen party or a bachelorette party in Sydney, for example, what are your biggest challenges or frustrations when it comes to doing outdoor activities around New York City? Let's say you're a tour operator that takes people out of the city, gets them out hiking onto a river, snowshoeing possibly in the winter, right? Finally, what are your biggest challenges or frustrations when it comes to booking a field trip, let's say for your English as a second language class, right? This is the most important question to ask. And why we ask it in the negative, I guess, is people don't always know what they want, but we have a pretty damn good idea of what we don't want. I always love the analogy of like thinking about your exes. You know, some of us, that was maybe a while back, but maybe we didn't know what we were looking for in a romantic partner, but man, a lot of our exes sure helped us find out what we didn't want, right? We have a very clear idea of what we did not want in a partner, right? Famous Henry Ford quote on this, right? If I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses, right? That kind of hits home that sometimes people can't articulate exactly what they're looking for, but if you can really zero into, hey, what are some of the things that you're struggling with? What are those challenges? And empathizing, appreciating, and deeply understanding your target guest becomes your secret weapon. Yeah, this is the one I want to share. I'll share Clint's story here after we say mistake number 3. Cool. All right, I'll keep pressing on. Feel free to jump in, Brennan. If you have questions, my chat window
Kelsey,
popped.
I will ask one question here about the because
Yeah, hell, do it.
yeah, we had a question come in about how to kind of deliver that question, right? Danae is saying that she does it with phone call screening, and so kind of trying to figure out what is that, which I love, right? And we actually have in our business, we have kind of a script, not that people follow it word for word, but it really gets to getting at the heart of the problem that the person is trying to solve when they're on the phone. You know, what is it that they're really looking for? Because then over the phone, you can really sell to that, which is amazing, which I love. And so it sounds like she's doing a little bit of that, but her question is, where else do you suggest doing that, right? Because it's hard to find, you want the people that are kind of like somewhat interested in that. How do you target the right group so that you know you're asking the right people the question? Because you ask the question to the wrong people, you could go down a completely wrong.
Exactly the point I was going to make, Brandon. And you're picking up on this. These mistakes are ordered in order of importance. So you could do something like a guest deep dive. We could ask this question to someone like me. Let's say you run a tour business here in Vancouver, and I've got a young family. I got 3 young girls under 6. What I need and want from a tour, my pain points, my frustrations are totally different than the German backpackers who are coming through town, or the baby boomer couple that is retired and looking to travel and have some of those experiences. So the first key insight or reminder is you absolutely should focus your guest deep dive just on your ideal target guests. 100%. And while I've even done this, just as a quick side note, when we were doing this in our own business, like we some of our initial programs were really aimed at tour leaders, and we ourselves shifted to serving really tour business owners, right? Entrepreneurs. And so when we were doing some of what is essentially guest deep dive, when we were doing some of our customer research, I actually created a filter where you could indicate what you were in a survey. So it said, hey, I'm a guide, a freelance guide, or I work for someone else. Or B, hey, I run my own tour business, or I'm more entrepreneurial, etc. And I was actually able to filter out any responses from individual guides who didn't run their own business, who didn't have some of that entrepreneurial ambition, etc. And so there are ways that you can do that with a survey, but here's basically there's 4. In our program, we go through the complete training on how to do the guest deep dive, but here's the quick high level. You can do this, and it's our first and foremost recommendation to do obviously over the phone or in-person conversations with your ideal target guest. At least 5 to 10 of these conversations. That's the best way, because you can dig deeper. You can scratch something. You can say, hey, wait, can you say that in another way? Or I noticed you mentioned this. What do you mean by that? So that's the most powerful. Secondly, if you do have a large customer database, and you know that your ideal target guests are represented within there, a survey is a fantastic tool to sort of do this at scale. So that we even have templates and one-click copies in our program of how you can set up a guest deep dive and do that survey, and that allows you to manipulate that data. So survey is the next one. The third one is stealth. You can actually do this passively. So if I know one of our members of our coaching program focuses on, he's based in Ireland, and he does sort of like 2 to 3 day Irish experiences for visitors. And there's a number of Facebook groups dedicated to tour planning. Hey, what are the best sites to see in Ireland? And so he was able to glean all kinds of insights just from being a member of those groups and looking for, hey, what are the problems? What are the challenges? What are the questions people are asking? That type of stealth guest deep dive is hugely, hugely effective if you can find the right group of people. In this day and age, it's pretty magical. The one that we just added, honestly, in the last 12 months is AI. You can now do a guest deep dive leveraging something like ChatGPT and Anthropic's Claude, and actually get some pretty spectacular results. We always recommend this as an add-on, but if you are looking to move quickly, if you have not yet uploaded your ideal target guest into a large language model and started manipulating and probing, you can get a lot of really incredible results. I was doing it this morning for one of our coaching members, and I said, hey, this is this company based in Hawaii. Here is their ideal target guest. I want you to come through and generate 10 of their biggest concerns, objections, or hesitations before buying. Did the same thing. As I want you to go a little bit deeper. What are some of the, specific to this destination, specific to this, the competitive landscape? What are some of their biggest challenges or concerns? And it was able to generate beautiful stuff that I hadn't even thought of. Someone who hasn't only been to Hawaii a couple times, but right at the top, it pulled out, well, there was a real concern in Hawaii about having an authentic experience. Is this just one of those tourist traps? Like, is this some sort of exploitive of, Hawaiian natives? I was like, oh, beautiful. Like, how amazing is it that we could address that particular challenge or pain point on our sales pages, in our marketing messaging, in our offers? So long answer, but those are the 4 different ways that you can come at that guest deep dive. Great question.
Love it. Love it. That's great stuff. And I've done a bit of that too, and found another good resource is Gemini. If you guys haven't used that yet, it does an incredible job with, like, creating an avatar and doing that exact same deep dive with it.
Yeah, beautiful.
So,
Okay,
awesome.
look, let's we've only got 2 more mistakes, so we'll push on. We got lots of time for Q&A. Keep those coming. Love that. Okay, mistake number 3. Generic tour design and delivery. So what we're doing, I'm kind of walking you through, is what we've kind of codified into our guest focus formula. And basically what we mean by that is some of the most successful tour businesses on the planet are able to keep their guests at the heart of everything they do in their tour business. And I'm not just talking about the guest experience, but we're talking here about guest focused tour design, offer design, guest focused sales, and guest focused marketing. So let's slowly transition to what that guest focus looks like here into design and then into putting offers together. So applying guest focus formulas so far, we've made a decision around our ideal target guest. And I'm going to nip you in the bud. Some of you are already thinking, well, this is great, but I've got like 3 or 4 ideal target guests. I'll be straight with you. That's a very complex business, right? You are adding a lot of headaches to yourself. Basically what you're saying is, oh yeah, well, I actually have 4 or 5 times the work. It's almost like running 4 or 5 different businesses if we're going to take this seriously. Now, at a certain point, does it 100% make sense to go after potentially a different ideal target guest? Yes, but I would encourage you to do that at a much later stage. I can't tell you the number of businesses that we've worked with that we've grown to multi-million-dollar tour businesses off of 1 tour. People forget this, right? That's that other instinct. It's like, oh, I have to add more tours, more product. That's how I'm going to grow my business, by having like 15 different offers. So it's going to resonate with all these different people that I'm trying to serve. No, honestly, you can do it. Look, you can build a business any way you want. What we're trying to do is say, hey, here's a faster track, or here's some proven methods. You can follow them or not follow them. It's totally up to you. But I'm telling you the right thing to do. Choose that ideal target guest, get a best-selling tour, activity, an irresistible offer. And then what's the best next step? Is it to go serve another ideal target guest? Hell no. Create another product, service that you can sell to that same customer. That's the right next step, right? The more you can increase the shopping cart value, the more you can increase that customer lifetime value. the more profitable your business will be, the less headaches you have, the amount you can reduce the complexity. So that's the quick caveat here. So we've made that decision around the ideal target guest. We've done the guest deep dive. That first question of the guest deep dive is just one of probably 5 core questions, by the way. So just in case you're thinking like, well, that seems kind of like a limited customer research, there's additional questions that we ask, and we do ask about their would that perfect day look like, or that perfect experience be? Let's say we do all that, but then most operators do what? Well, we default back to generic tour design and delivery. We see often what's in the market, right? We look out and we're like, well, they must be having success, or oh, I see the offer is priced around this. And we kind of default into competing with so many other people that we don't need to compete with rather. Here's the story of Clint. So he's a Discover Canada Tours. He's based here in Vancouver. And Clint and his team were approached one day by an English as a second language school. And they said, hey, look, lots of people come here to study English from all over the world. Vancouver is a beautiful place to do it. But they don't just want to be in the classroom, right? They want to get out and see some of the coast. They want to see the mountains, etc. Could you help us do this? This is not really our sweet spot. And he said, yeah, sure. Hey, tell me more about what you need. What's he doing? He's guest deep dive. What are some of your biggest problems and challenges? There's all kinds of challenges. Like 1, most of these people don't speak English all that well. 2, 0% of them almost have transportation of any kind. Payment processing is challenging for folks who maybe can't either navigate the website, maybe they don't have credit cards, or they have different payment methods. So Clint was able to work with the school and put together a series of offers. And then Clint's big insight was, oh, wow, I wonder if there are other English as a second language schools here in Vancouver. You betcha are. There's about a dozen of them. So Clint was able to go and start approaching these other English as a second language schools and saying, hey, what is it that you're struggling with? Would you be interested in us helping get your students out into some of the beautiful experiences they can have around Vancouver? And so ultimately what Clint was doing was recognizing an opportunity, an underserved portion of the market. And he adjusted his buyer persona, his ideal target guests, to these schools. So Clint and his team built a multi-million-dollar tour business, over $3.5 million in annual revenues, serving exclusively English as a second language schools in Vancouver. And you know who Clint wasn't competing with anymore? The hundreds of other tour operators serving travelers and tourists that pass through Vancouver every year, right? He wasn't spending a dime competing on Google ads or Facebook ads to try and get the tourist dollar, because he had identified this one niche and was serving it better than anyone else. This is a kind of funny story. I was back last summer to Nova Scotia, and I was visiting my grandparents out there. Brought my young girls, so I've got a 6-year-old, 4-year-old, and 2-year-old. And we came across this cafe. This is the Cottontail Cafe and Play. You can see the picture up here. And this is a cafe that is oriented entirely around families. Now look at this place. And so for some of you that have young kids, you're probably already seeing here like, whoa, this place seems like magic. I can't even tell you how amazing this place is. They had like a little dividing wall where you kind of like chuck your kids over here. There's an indoor play space. All the electrical sockets were covered up. They had like a Lego area for the older kids, but my like 2-year-old was not going to choke on the Lego bits. The cafe had fun food, like star-shaped plates and food that kids would actually eat, plus great coffee for the adults, parents to just like sit down and, oh my God, get a minute, right, to yourself. I cannot tell you, or you can easily imagine, that this was like a 15-star experience for my family and I. Like, contrast this to the experience of going to a Starbucks with 3 kids under 6, right? It is a world of difference, an order of magnitude better experience. Now think about what I did afterwards. Did I leave them a 5-star review glowing? Hell yeah. Have I told every single parent or family of kids, like, oh, if you're going through this part of town, you got to go check this place out. It's amazing. Was I willing to pay more? Yeah, there was an actual fee to go in and use this play area that then you could use as credit towards the cafe. Was I willing to pay more for this type of experience? Absolutely. Right? This is what we're talking about when you get this right. It's that product market fit. It builds so much inertia in your business, and it is moving away from the generic tour design. They could have had another standard coffee shop. They could compete with all the other coffee shops that were around. But you know what? They chose to actively make this cafe uninteresting or unappealing to the majority of visitors. Think about that. How many people, if you want to go work on your novel, and a nice quiet space. The last thing you need is my snot-nosed kids chucking Lego into your lattes, right? This would be a nightmare if you're trying to catch up with an old friend and you need a quiet space or to work on your business or something, right? They're not trying to be everything to everyone. Cool. Let's push on to mistake number 4. That last time for our Q&A. Mistake number 4 was talking about when we're putting together our offers. So, not talking about your guests' problems. People buy to solve problems, period. Another great writer downer. People buy to solve problems. So when it comes to effective marketing and sales, you need to keep focused on the problems that you're solving for your guests. Put another way, we should stop talking about our problems or our goals or how great we are on our websites and instead talk about our guests' problems and goals, whether this is in an elevator pitch to people, your tour descriptions, your homepage, your blog, your promotional campaigns, your ads. Lead with the problems that you solve for your guests. Your sales and marketing communication should be anchored to this. Only then can we effectively capture attention. That's all marketing is, right? Is capturing attention and creating irresistible offers, which is sales. Getting the attention, having an irresistible offer. Okay, let's make this concrete. We're talking bachelorette parties. Woo! These girls are having a good time. We're about to have a good time too. We worked with Sydney Pedal Pub to help them sell more tours and grow their tour business. And they noticed that these bachelorette parties were booking their experiences. Maybe some of you have had this experience. Wow, we do get the occasional bachelorette party, but how can we get more of them, right? How can we build this out as a sales funnel, right? So we help them do a guest deep dive. Who did they talk to? They talked to these bachelorette organizers. They got them on the phone. They asked them, hey, what's your biggest challenge, frustration when it comes to organizing a hen party, right? A bachelorette party. What would your dream scenario look like? And so this gave them a ton of clear guidance on what additional products to create, what could be packaged together, etc. So this is what it looks like. I want to actually have a concrete example of what this feels like when you can now go back and mine your guest deep dive. You might be thinking, oh, that customer research, we did it once, now we've got the vibe. No, you're going to use this. This is guest-focused marketing and sales. Here is a direct quote from one of these ladies. Another thing that's proving challenging is finding activities that have all-inclusive price with all the alcohol included, right? They're going maybe doing tasting or a bar hopping thing. And they was like, it's frustrating to wait in lines to like pay for these drinks. And Becky forgot her purse. Becky's always forgetting her purse. So what do? Possible feature, tasting fees and alcohol included. No brainer, right? Hey, leave your wallet, leave your purse at home, leave Becky at home. You focus on fun, we'll take care of the tab the whole afternoon, right? See how we're getting clarity about our product? We're not only, yes, this is impacting the design, but how we are positioning it, right? We're talking about the problems. Here's an objection or concern. Transportation, huge issue for these ladies. I'm not sure how we're going to organize transport to all our different tours and activities. It's a real pain to order loads of different Ubers, especially splitting the cost aspect, right? Maybe you've been to bachelorette or bachelor experiences, can relate to this. So possible feature. Right on our sales page, included pickup from your hotel or Airbnb. Forget the pain of ordering a ton of Ubers and splitting the costs. We'll pick you up right from your hotel or Airbnb. You notice what's happening here? We are using the exact language of the people that we're looking to serve when we're putting together the offer. What did they tell us? The pain of ordering a ton of different Ubers? Well, forget the pain of ordering a ton of different Ubers. This is what guest-focused marketing and really effective marketing, where people feel like they're, oh my gosh, these people get me, right? Or, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm looking for. This is how you do this and how you can do this at scale and how you can do it consistently. Finally, we had that dream scenario question. Honestly, my dream scenario would be a weekend where all the hassle's taken out of it. And we can just go out and have fun, great food, fun nights out, and brunches with bottomless mimosas. This bottomless mimosas thing came up a lot. We quickly identified it was a thing. Possible feature, bottomless mimosas. Sometimes we overcomplicate this stuff, right? Sometimes it's like, find a hot market, ask them what they want, and give it to them, right? The best way to experience a relaxing time in Sydney Harbor, join us for a delicious, hassle-free brunch on the beach with bottomless mimosas. Hell yeah. The takeaway, messaging should come from your market, not your mind, right? Messaging should come from your market, not your mind. This is what guest focused sales and marketing looks like. This is the last example that I'll go through. I got a couple screenshots, especially for some of you folks that if you do have, Brandon, maybe even in your case, more of a, well, like aerial parks or zip line. This is an eco experience. I'm not sure if you've heard of these guys, but Rotorua Canopy Tours. They've won, I think at some point, like they were the top outdoor experience in the world on Viator TripAdvisor rankings. A lot to appreciate. But I want to show you that you can do guest focused marketing, even if you just have one core, guest focused marketing and sales, even if you just have one core experience. So when you get to Rotorua Canopy Tours website, you notice this. Hey, who are you traveling with? You say, my friends, my partner, my family, I'm a senior flyer. What happens when I click on senior flyer? Well, I'm taken to a dedicated tour description page, a dedicated offer page for who? For senior flyers. Who's front and center? Well, a couple of older folks having an amazing time. Now, this will be, I'll read it out loud. You probably can't see the copy here, but look at some of the language that we're using. Retired from work, but not amazing adventures. Rotorua Canopy Tours is a must for every Kiwi, an unforgettable and enlightening adventure, perfect for all ages, from 6 to 106. What are they doing with the testimonials? Our guides were kind, patient, very warmly encouraging of everyone in our group, which ranged from a 5-year-old to a 70-year-old, right? Think about that. What some of the concerns are if maybe you're a senior flyer, like, oh, am I going to be holding up the line? You know, is this going to be uncomfortable? We can address this with specific copy, with FAQs, with testimonials. Let's go back and I forget which one I did. Maybe partner. Hey, take your relationship to new heights. Look at this, these two beautiful young people having the date of their lives. Share an experience together, whether you're a first-time flyer or up for challenging each other. We've got an experience that will take you on an intimate journey together. Who doesn't want that? Do we have social proof from this ideal target customer? Yeah. Was there with my fiance. It was just amazing. Excitement of the zip lining with a stroll through the canopy. Use the promo code couples at checkout. Like even your promo code is set up around your ideal target guests, right? Look, I put in some stuff here. This would be great, like for those of you that are interested in having a quick strategy call. One of the things that we love doing on those calls is going through your sales pages, and we can very quickly help you identify. We're looking for 12 essential elements on any sales page. Doesn't matter if you're a multi-day tour operator, a single day tour operator. These are them. We don't have time to go through them here today, but if you would like a second set of eyes on your tour descriptions, how you're selling and where you might have blind spots or gaps, grab one of those free strategy calls. We'll pop the link up here in a second. We also have a number of best practices when we're thinking about implementing this, from floating book now buttons to this, like some of the risk reversal. Like this, most of us don't have a background in e-commerce, right? And in sales, right? Most of us are focused on creating amazing experiences, and we just don't have that background or skill. And that's where we can provide a ton of value in not only doing this in terms of the content and the copy and layout, but really with your media and the implementation of these sales pages. These 50, here's the quick writer downer. If you're looking at your own media, do 50% of your images have smiling guests and smiling guides? Yes, no, that's a pass fail. Just a rough rule of thumb, but 50% smiling guests, and not just any guests, but your ideal target guests. It's called future pacing. We want people to be able to envision themselves having your experience. So here in the top right, that's a photo from those biking tours in Vietnam. Look at that. How amazing. Can you imagine yourself? How easily you can imagine yourself on this biking tour, have pulled over. Here's this school children let out from the local school, and I'm able to pull over and have this really nice, authentic, amazing experience, right? Or here on the food tour in Charleston. Very easy to imagine myself in that moment. This is just some of the examples of work that we've done. This is John down in Charleston. We were able to lift his conversion rate up to 6.5%. Like the stakes are real here. When we're talking about guest-focused sales and marketing, we're talking about more money going into your business, more bookings, and more profit. So I'll do the quick recap, and then we'll do a, hit that Q&A. So start typing in the Q&A if you got it. Mistake number 1, no ideal target guests. What are we going to do instead? Encourage you to niche down way more than you think you need to, way more than you probably are right now. Narrowly focus on that ideal target guest. And it's amazing all the positive stuff in your business that will flow from that. not just a tremendous amount of clarity around where you should focus your marketing spend, but a tremendous amount of clarity on what alterations, design changes you need to make to your products or service to get that product market fit. Mistake number 2, little or no customer research, right? What do we do instead? Remember that guest deep dive. Deeply understand their needs, wants, and desires. Let that empathy be your competitive advantage. Mistake number 3, that generic tour design and delivery. At the end of the day, even if you're armed with all that, those first 2 steps, you now have to work towards that product market fit. Let these insights, just like the Bachelorette experience, drive the design and delivery of our tour. And mistake number 4, let's lead with our guests' problems, right? When we are packaging, marketing, and selling a tour, position your tour activity or experience as the as the solution. That's what we're doing. We're selling solutions. I'm going to cut this one for time. Where do we go from here? Yeah, you don't need any of this. This is the special gift here today. If you're excited by this, you want a second set of eyes. If you want to know, hey, am I hitting those 12 essential elements? Like I said, this is first come, first served. I cleared some of my own calendar just for Brandon and Nikki in the workshop here today. So guestfocus.com/Resmark if you do want to grab that free strategy call. Like I said, it's a win-win, right? We love just getting people some results, introducing them to some of these best practices. And then, if you're interested in working with us, we'd love to talk about that. But basically, we just want to get you some quick wins like we do here today. So Brandon, I think I will just leave it there if that's good with you. And then we could do some Q&A. Oh, you're on mute.
Right. All right. Kelsey, thank you so much for all the great info today. So fantastic. You can really see how implementing these strategies would really make a difference in a business. I'm curious, just a couple of questions, and feel free, all of you that are on the call still, go ahead and plug your questions in. I've got a couple that I jotted down as we went along too that I'm curious about, things I've heard from other clients we've worked with as well. You mentioned a 6.5% conversion rate. That was one example. Is that a pretty fair average of what someone would expect when they say, maybe they haven't been doing this sort of focus on the ideal customer and they have kind of fairly average, tour descriptions and so forth? If they went through your program and really got some good updates on their website and in their language and on their phone calls and, did the work to figure out who the ideal customer is, crafted their market around it, would they expect something similar, or what has been that range in your experience?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's a common question. It's a really good metric to be tracking or to try to track in your business if you're not presently doing it. And there's a couple layers that you can look at this at. So this is the first clarification I would say, Brandon. So the first is just kind of like your total traffic to all pages of your website to, hey, what percentage of those ultimately proceed and make a booking? And you obviously, you can do this through Google Analytics. You can work with your booking software company to help get that. The other place that you can look at a conversion rate that we, quite frankly, work with a lot of our members on is also just the direct to the sales page. So there you can have a more granular approach, product by product, but you're saying, okay, of the people that have visited this particular sales page, what percentage then have gone on and become a customer? And so that's a more narrow focus. And the 6.5 that I was sharing there, that was actually doing an A/B test, right? Where we were showing the visitors, this is version 1 of the sales page, and this is version 2. And which one is ultimately getting more people to booking. And that's where we see adding things like risk reversal, adding things like features and benefits, improving our media. That people so underestimate their images. There's a great marketing agency I super appreciate in our area, Blend Marketing, and they were talking about how they worked with an aerial park operator, and they just changed the photos that were just like pretty average photos of people on a zip line to like just high quality professional photos of like this little girl going down. You've got the bokeh blurred background. She's having the time of her life. And like that image change alone on the page lifted the click-through rate, just even the clicking into the book now button, by over 100%. Like it was wild, the impact that sometimes just those small tweaks can have, especially our media. And other things like site performance is some we didn't have time to get into today, but just if your site is loading slow, if those images aren't optimized, this can crush your conversion rate. So back to the core question, Brandon, yeah, have I seen like double that type of conversion rate, like closer to 10% and higher? Yeah, it's definitely possible. It all boils down to how is the traffic finding you? So if you have a blog strategy, an SEO strategy with a ton of content where people are finding your company, they're finding your brand, you're providing helpful information to them, but they're not, they may not have that commercial intent yet. Like, hey, I'm just at the early dreaming stage. You might have a lower conversion rate, but overall higher traffic. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. We obviously want to increase the number of people that might be visiting an educational blog post or a helpful post on topic X, Y, or Z to actually come visit your sales pages. So just keep in mind that a lower conversion rate isn't necessarily a bad thing if you've got larger volumes of traffic. And again, if you had hyper targeted paid ad strategies where you knew that they had a lot of buyer intent, whether it was through keyword ads or other types of targeting, you could see a much higher conversion rate because the traffic is much more qualified, meaning they are also qualified for that buyer's intent. But yeah, no question. If you don't know what this number is at all, first get some baseline, right? Get those 2 baseline conversion rates, and then basically work from what you've got right now, right? That's the best thing, Brandon. You don't necessarily compete against the neighbors or industry averages, which can hide some of those details. But once you figure out what yours is, now you're playing again against yourself, and the goal is to beat yourself. And we got all kinds of ways to do that.
That's
That
awesome.
help clarify a little bit?
Honestly, if you look at your online traffic, I mean, those of you who are, some of our website clients here and so forth, I think even a 2% increase in conversion rate can be very significant when you're talking
Oh,
about,
massive.
it's often a very small percentage that even convert in the first place. So seeing that big of an increase is pretty significant. So I love this, and I think any of you who are considering this as well, doing a free strategy call, seeing what Guest Focus has to offer, I mean, pair that with what Resmark could potentially offer on the ResmarkWeb side. If you want to check out resmarkweb.com, I mean, there's often, Kelsey, you alluded to it a little bit, but it's if you combine the right messaging with, the technology and something that's going to load quickly. I mean, the conversion rate increase just from every second you shave off of load time is huge. So
Yep.
combine that with, some new imagery and all of those updates that could really make the magic happen on your site from, grabbing that emotion and just driving home the right message to the right person, together with a platform that can,
Yep.
load all of that quickly and be easy to edit and manage. That's a super winning combination and well
And
worth
for
the investment. So
And for those of you that we know, I'm guessing most of you do have a booking software solution, but this is one of the first things we help operators integrate, and if they are not using one, just from that conversion rate perspective, if you are still requiring people to send you an email or fill out a form in order to process a booking, this is incredibly impactful on that conversion rate, right? Because you're adding a huge amount of complexity, you're adding a huge amount of time. Delay is the death of the sale. So a huge part of those 12 essential elements being contributing towards an effective conversion rate is an easy way for people to see real-time availability, an easy way to get you payment, an easy way for you to manage that on the back end. So it's
100%.
this is the right way to do it. It's amazing how it's still a minority of operators that actually even have booking software companies. So
Well, and it's incredible what some of the things we just at Resmark, we just actually implemented a new option for those who are doing like multi-day trips, a different way to display availability. And we tested it initially on our Grand Canyon trips for Western River Expeditions, saw a 20% increase in conversion. Like it's crazy. So, the right technology can make a big difference
yeah,
there. So that's huge. Just a couple other questions here real quick, Kelsey, and we'll wrap it up.
yeah,
Uh,
please get them submitted, or if it's easier for
so
you to just
yeah,
come off
how
mute.
how long does it generally take if somebody has interest in the program that you're offering, they get started with it? Is it an ongoing process for 12 months or more? Is it a few meetings? How does it work?
Yeah, so the way the program actually works, like I said, we've been very blessed to really build out a team of for business coaches. And what we heard from working with lots of folks, like we used to have just an entirely kind of like online course driven model, but what we heard over and over from folks is that they wanted accountability. They wanted the ability to have like a mentor. They wanted to be able to interface with somebody who had walked the walk that they were looking to do, somebody who's kind of been there, done that. And the biggest thing that we're helping people with is that sense of overwhelm, right? It's so easy for us to, many of us are operating alone or potentially with partners, but to not have someone to turn to. And so when we get hung up on things or stuck, analysis paralysis, right? Like I said off the top, a lot of us probably have, wow, there's 20 things that I could do in this next month that could grow my business, but I don't know which one to do and what order. And then there's self-doubt. So like I commit to something, but then we kind of maybe bail halfway through, or like we said, we get distracted by that other thing. So one of the big innovations I think with our program is this bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks, you've got that 30 to 40-minute call with that coach and the mentor. We actually have an accountability dashboard. We write down, all right, once we get clarity around your goals, everything we do in our program is designed to get you to those goals faster, more efficiently, less time reinventing the wheel, right? We've got these in our success path, over 200 hours of recorded training. So you can access that. But what's beautiful is that now it's paired with the coach. So the coach can say, all right, just ignore most of this success path. We're just focusing on your conversion rate. This is the only resource that you need. Hey, here's 6 other companies that are doing this extremely well. Let's model. Let's emulate before we innovate, right? Start doing what some of the most successful operators are doing before we, then can experiment and do our own A/B tests and going deeper. So,
Awesome.
yeah, that's I would say one of the biggest things is really just having that accountability partner can be massive. And yeah, I'm blessed that we have so many incredibly successful operators that many of them are actually running their own businesses still. That's what we love too. These are folks who, hey, I grew and sold a business many years ago, but these are people who are actually living and breathing it right here, right now, as you know, Brandon, how helpful that is in keeping track of the curveballs that are coming our way in the industry, right?
Yeah, so much is changing all the time. One last question from Maddie. And Maddie, I don't know if you want to jump in, unmute, and kind of ask this. He was talking about his skydiving business in Maui, surprised by those who are willing to try skydiving, but he gets a lot of cancellations, due to
Yep.
weather, safety concerns, and things like that. What did you have a specific question around that, Maddie, that you wanted to
Yeah, I
clarify?
guess I didn't really phrase that in a question, did I? So basically, I think the main question I want to ask is, you talk about points of frustrations and those points there, and I kind of feel like I already know what the points of frustrations are with my guests slash customers, and I think the biggest one they got is the uncertainty of if it's going to happen or not. And then when they don't understand the uncertainty, they kind of think that it's more sure than it actually is. Because we try to tell them that, hey, skydiving is weather dependent, so don't think that this is for sure. But sometimes they kind of in one ear out the other. And then when the time comes to actually cancel them due to weather, then they get super frustrated, and we do kind of have strategies in place to try to mitigate this in the sense that we do really early morning weather calls. So we try to get them before they leave the hotel rooms or whatever to tell them, hey, this is how the weather's looking like today. You can come out in some cases where you can come out and give it a try, but it's far from for sure. Other cases, hey, it's good, come on out, and then other cases, hey, it's not good at all. I would not recommend coming out today. So we try to do these as much as possible, give them a heads up on it. That said, some people do get quite frustrated with it. They're probably running with a bunch of people and all that, and they're like, oh, like it's like herding cats, and it's just frustrating for them. So what my question would be, what do you suggest when the biggest point of frustration for your guest is something you can't really do much about?
Yeah, so there's 2 ways I'd tackle this. One, we can talk a little bit more about some of the strategies that you can do, because obviously we can mitigate it here. 2, I would just challenge you to go back further in the journey, because that challenge or frustration is definitely something I would say that's almost like for those folks who have already bought, right? So you're doing a great job here of, hey, how do we mitigate disappointment or mismatched expectations and make sure they have a great experience? But when I'm talking about their pain points and frustrations and challenges, I'm often talking about the people that you haven't convinced yet, right? The ones that have concerns, hesitations, or find alternates to your skydiving experience there in Hawaii, and then they're
Yeah.
hesitant doing yours. So I would shift your focus earlier. This is kind of funny. I noticed this mistake a lot in FAQs. So every tour sales page, your individual product page, should have an FAQ. But a lot of the FAQs that I see are more like FYI, post-purchase related FAQs, instead of where I think the missed opportunity is objection busting. Really dive
Okay.
deep. What are the like top 20 reasons that people are not buying me and this experience? And it might be that it's obviously in something like skydiving, like concerns about safety. It might be oh, it's just like too much hassle. Oh, it's this could involve your competitors, right? You want to be able to address not only in your FAQ, which should be on the tour sales page, not your just general FAQ. You can have one there if you want, but I'm talking about objection busting for that specific offer. Many people don't do that. They link out to another page. That is a conversion killer. You're sending people away from the page where they can give you money. You want to keep people there.
Okay.
Free writer down. No outbound links from your tour sales page. Ideally, you have a main CTA, call to action, which is what? Check availability, book now, right?
Okay.
Slight exceptions down at the bottom if you want to have obviously your footer, if you want to have like related tours there. But if you're linking out to an FAQ, oh, go over here to check out our cancellation policy. Oh, go read our guest reviews over here. Conversion killers. Keep them there on the page. So that's the first way I'd answer. The second way is, okay, let's talk about on the guest experience side. I love this. There's a number of companies that do this really well, but the framing is straight talk. And it's to not shy away from what are some of the real downsides or potentially negative experiences that someone might have on your tour. So the great example is like, hey, you're coming to Rome to see the Colosseum in August. We're going to have some straight talk about how your experience might not match some of the marketing materials that you might have been exposed to, right? Which is, it's going to be hotter than Hades, and there's going to be 10,000 people all crowded around you. So if I was selling tours at that time, I'm going to, hey, have a call out of straight talk to set those expectations. And then you address, hey, here's what we do to help mitigate this. And you're going to earn people's trust. You're going to better manage those expectations so that you can still wow and delight, and you're not starting from a back foot. And so I would just, again, don't shy away from that on your sales page. I love, the framing it as straight talk. Even if, oh my God, there's two places, even in my own career. I used to work down in Costa Rica, and I don't know how many of you have been down there and seen what's it called? Arenal, the famous volcano. And there's literally like 3 days a year that you can see this friggin' volcano. Like, it is just socked in with cloud. It's in a friggin' rainforest. All you see is the base of this volcano. But what does every single marketing image, every image that you see is this beautiful, perfect cone-shaped volcano that, like, I don't know, maybe like 30 people have seen, right? So the other place that this happened was in Iceland, right? Iceland, all these sunny days and beautiful things. And people don't realize, even if you're going to Iceland in July and August, it's like the North Atlantic. Like, it can be cold, it can be rainy, you can be socked in. And so that straight talk really helps calibrate those expectations, including.
Okay. So you,
yeah.
Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go for it.
No, I was ranting, so I'm glad you did.
So you would say it is worth sacrificing conversion rate / bookings in this context, then like, give them some straight talk. You might decrease your bookings overall, but you're going to increase customer satisfaction.
Yeah, I'd have to see evidence that it would actually be decreasing your bookings. Sometimes being that transparent and that honest helps win trust. So if anything, I haven't seen data that straight talk, Backroads, the biking tour company,
Yeah,
they implemented
I don't
that.
have the data,
Not
but
conversion go down. Yeah.
I don't have the data, but sometimes, for example, if you don't show the picture of the beautiful volcano, less people will be inclined to book a tour around that beautiful volcano. That's why I kind of like
I see what you're saying there with the images. Yeah. So So again, it's a framing. When we in our guide training resources, and we pride that as part of our coaching program. We actually have this 4 hours of world-class guide training that you just get as a member of our coaching program. And one of the things we cover in there, but you can give this to your team, is the framing, right? So when that guest is on that tour, this is the best possible tour, right? You better have some reasons why this is an amazing time to be on this tour here today, and some special reason. Now, they don't need to know that this is the crappiest time of year to come on this tour, but we're going to make this experience extra special for them and find a framing. If it's, like rainy, I'm thinking here in the Pacific Northwest, and it's like, oh, it's rainy, but there's no more perfect way to experience the Pacific Northwest rainforest than with that fog and the drizzle. You guys are so lucky to be here today when we've got this ethereal experience. I think this is going to be something you remember for a long time. That's the
And then
power.
you think buying a boat is a good idea? If I can't take them on the airplane to go skydiving, I should buy a boat and take them on the boat, maybe.
Yeah, if you like competing boat tours. Look, I think it's a
I
bit
was
tongue
trying
in
to
cheek.
buy a boat.
Yeah.
I need to convince the wife to.
Yeah.
I was joking. It's all good. Thank you for answering my question.
Good question, Maddie. Thank you. Awesome. I've got more questions, but I think we're over time a little bit here, and want to be respectful of everybody's time. So thank you so much, Kelsey, again for joining. What we're going to do is we're going to take this link that you see on the screen. We'll send out some additional resources also from Guest Focus and from Resmark for all of those who are here on the call. Nikki will be sending that out to you. So expect to receive that in your email here shortly. And absolutely, I would, this is a free strategy call. So take Kelsey up on that. It's awesome that he's personally cleared some time on his own calendar. He's awesome to be able to sit with and have some input, as you can see. Super awesome to talk to, and will be full of insights for you. Again, if that leads towards anything where you're saying, man, I think I need to just rethink my whole website or whatever, Resmark would be happy to help you with that. Software, whatever you need on that end as well. Love what we're talking about here, Kelsey. I think it can really make a difference in tour business. I've got a few things spinning in my head of improvements we're going to make even on our own stuff here.
Hell yeah, book a free strategy call. No, it's great. Look, I love that you do this, and it's spectacular. The folks that have the most success in our programs and in this industry are the ones that are like you folks here today, which is you're curious, you're hungry, you know that you probably got some blind spots, some things you don't know, and then the things you don't know. And so, like I said, if you want to grab that call, guestfocus.com/Resmark, that'll disappear once the Zoom shuts down. So just a handful of slots left if you do want to grab one of those, but I'm really looking forward to speaking to a lot of you there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you everybody for joining us today, and until next time, we'll see you again soon. Thank you.